Hey, hi there. Well, I had a great weekend because I got to spend Saturday with you guys. Um,
You're so kind.
but um, but there's big challenges coming up for myself, my colleagues, and a lot of fellow practitioners. And I thought maybe you could give us some guidance. I was wondering if you had a recommendation on a protocol or a pattern or an oil that we could be using for the energies of anger and hatred that are arising in our systems
Oh,
right now.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. There's a couple different ways to look at it. There is the first point. You could just look at it from a symptom point of view, like the anger, the hatred, the things like that. The oil that works the best for that is Melissa. Like just, straight up, not really following a protocol, but maybe just having a person inhale on their solar plexus. I usually have them take it internally. Um, it just the thing with Melissa is it calms down the production of lower emotions. And so like when somebody's in the middle of like a lot of anger, a lot of just agitation, a lot of upset, a lot of, you know, it calms things down. It can be a little bit different from person to person just because, people's like physiology can be a little different, their psychological makeup, you know, and mm, sometimes like conditioning plays a big role in this sometimes. Like it's there's just times where you just try to slap a band-aid on it. And if I look to like things like people that like my old friends or my family or something, they're not going to do any protocol. I'll be lucky to get them to inhale an oil, maybe get them into ingesting something a couple of times. you know so it depends on who you're dealing with.
I
um
am I am specifically asking for people who are practitioners, energy healing practitioners, people like
yeah,
myself
there
who
i
are
would i would be taking Melissa and galbanum daily. Like,
galvan.
yeah,
Okay.
galbanum. The galbanum helps in a lot of things, not so much specifically to like the anger and stuff, but it keeps you on like the right path. It keeps you from going to like a weird place, like when you're dealing with a bunch of difficulty. And the thing with being a practitioner sometimes is you're ending up having things projected at you that have nothing to do with you, but it's because you're engaging the therapeutic process with somebody. You kind of get a little bit of transference with that. And the galbanum really helps you kind of stay in a place where you can be helpful in problem solving and not get spun out by people, by people and their stuff. And then the Melissa, definitely it's activating to the heart. It keeps everything calmed down. It puts you like in a very kind of chill mode that's like really non-reactive.
Mhm.
I find that to be incredibly helpful. For a practitioner also, if you're just like going down that route, inhaling aloes along the the arms and legs, the joints of the arms and legs and along the spine and even into the organs of blood purification, like the
Mhm.
lungs, the liver, gallbladder, kidney, spleen. Incredibly helpful. It's helpful in kind of a protective quality of sorts, but it also helps you to be able to do more of the service, or for you to be able to do more healing or be more attentive or have more focus on the things that you're doing. So I would say that is a component. If there's areas of struggling, I always like to go back to the body map, and unwind issues that are potentially in the body map. So different areas of the body kind of elicit a certain kind of instinctual response, a certain kind of emotional response, and eventually can be contributing to mental processes. So, thoughts, repetitive thoughts, opinions, things like that. And the more that you unwind the body like that, um, the more potent. We're going to be doing, not this weekend, but the following weekend, like the continuation of the body map. And even if you haven't had it, you still can benefit, where we take the different pieces from the body and we look at like how the combinations, which in alchemical processes we call like compounds, like how these compounds can affect you. And I mean, it's like worry, anger, abandonment, all these kinds of things. And the reason why they're so hard to treat is that they have a really strong foundation in the physiology. And so you try treating them emotionally or mentally, and it gets a result, but you really have to unwind the physiology, the agitation that can happen in the physiology. And so in more severe cases, I mean, I do that practice quite a bit, just because it deepens my meditation, helps me run more energy. It helps me to like see things clearer, and I get more accurate information when I look at things. And so I like it for that. Definitely doing healings. It puts the energy you're working, kind of steps it up like it's on steroids, so you're able to produce a quicker result. And one of the things about starting to work the compounds is it makes your energy body a bit more reflective. And so when people are projecting negativity, it just kind of bounces it out. But also it helps, that reflective component helps you to step out of the collective conscious or unconscious, whatever you want to call it, a little bit easier, so that you're not just swimming in everybody else's thoughts. You're a little bit more centered in yourself. And so the body mapping, the next step when we're working with the compounds, what do we call that class? The body's wisdom. Yeah, I mean, we do a practice with that at least two times a week, maybe 3 times a week, where in the evenings after we're done with work, and instead of like sitting and watching a movie or something, we sit and we just fire through that process. And even when I was out in California, I did a process with the staff and some of the volunteers and things. And man, it's like a game changer. So there's that component. And then just even working the 3 brains themselves, the sex, solar, brain component. And we're going to be doing that tonight. Tonight's the Stars anniversary, and we're going to be doing like a meditation / blessing, and we're going to work it a little bit stronger, without the oils, but we can do a version of it with the oils. We've been activating and calming down the agitation as time goes by, but the things we're practicing are not the end result. We're still continuing this process. And the reason that that's so important is it really helps to remove those inner obstacles, and it really helps to see like how to do something, versus like when you're being kind of clairvoyant, especially in the early stages, you're looking at things, you go, oh, I see the energy around something, you're seeing the what. And the 3 brains, observes the what, but then goes into the how. Like, how do I take action? How do I adjust myself? What do I need to produce a result? And you're doing it beyond logic. You're doing it beyond rational thought. You're tapping into more guidance from the soul, and you're tapping into more of the unconscious. And so in difficult times or trying times, I mean, that's why I taught it all the time when I was in the corporate setting, is, I had to be able to produce a result very quickly. And, just doing healings is one thing, but helping the person to be able to adjust and adapt to whatever got thrown at them was just priceless. And so as healers, I would say the same thing. Like if you can really cultivate that ability to problem solve on your feet without being able to go, I need to go look this up, I need to have a strategy, because part of the thing with, there's nothing wrong with symptom oriented approaches, but you're trying to use the logical mind to make something happen in the body. And for healing to really sink in, you do have to go beyond the senses, because it's not just what's presenting. There's usually a way more involved with it. There's a lot more facets. And so being able to tap into that intuitive component that can adjust and adapt and make very quick decisions, and kind of is a lot more unifying than the logical mind. The logical mind's trying to make something happen. It forms strategy, takes much longer periods of time. It does a lot of trial and error, but it synthesizes things. It synthesizes, pulls things together, forms opinions, whatever. But if the information is not complete or not accurate, then what gets synthesized is not accurate or not complete. And so you want to be able to adjust way past just the presenting symptoms. And so, looking back, we've been moving towards the three brains for quite a while. Like, I wanted to do a really strong foundation before we really started presenting it. And the timing of how we started presenting it, both here in Plant Prana and in Astara, I find very interesting with everything going on in the world. I just, I don't know, felt a little bit like divine guidance, or a little bit of divine push to accelerate the process, whatever it was. But it's a way to help people step away from all that stuff. Part of what you could say would be not so much in the practitioners, but like when you look into just society and things, could be just reactions, could be inaccurate perceptions. It's just feeding off the conflicts that are going on. And that's the thing that the three brain stuff really cuts through really, really kind of quickly, and moves more to a bigger picture and something that's more unifying rather than separating. So
yeah, I just have to say I'm eternally grateful for having come on board with you while you're doing this three brain work.
thank you.
It has been invaluable to me. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you. I mean, it's been life-changing for me. Like, I'm so happy to be able to share it. It's actually woven in practically every tradition. It's veiled, so you don't really see it for what it is, and people use different words to describe different things, but it's pretty much woven in every tradition. It's just nobody teaches it publicly. When I was taught, it was one-on-one. Like, there was no class or anything. And so I think it's a good time for it to really be going public, and I'm sure I'm not the only one going public with it, but how it used to get taught and where it used to get taught, the school that it came out of faded away a very, very long time ago. There were still practitioners and things, but you don't really hear about the school for centuries. But there was always practitioners floating around doing it, and it feels like it's kind of coming back and forming again. I could be wrong, could be wishful thinking, I don't know, but it feels like something's happening.